morning, ladies and gentlemen. What is up? And welcome back to the My Crypto Journey live stream here for Coffee con Crypto. Where's my coffee's in the living room? Do me a favor before we get started, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you like being here. And if you're following over on X, make sure to like, repost, all that good stuff. Guys, insane stuff happening over the weekend. We got a lot of stuff to go over, some charts to look at, so all these sorts of things. Of course, your boy's been learning technical analysis. I've been back in the lab, okay? I've been in the lab learning, okay? And actually, yes, it's a little bit of astrology for men, but you know what? A lot of it's kind of checking out. And interesting times in the crypto market. And, you know, if you didn't think altcoin season was a thing before or wasn't happening before, I think this stream's going to change your mind. So lock in, take a seat. And if you had some Monday blues, it's time to shake it off with some cryptocurrency news. Let's go, baby. How we doing, chat? Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you guys in here. We have Lumen. Good morning. How we doing? Javi, number one in the chat, of course, over on YouTube. And we have Lumen, number one, over on X. How we doing, babies? Arman, how we doing? Arman, I did not see that Bit Boy's back, but we'll check that out later on in the stream. Jay Hawk, what's up, baby? MG says, BD going up, not being affected by today's market. Yeah, the market's looking decent right now. Selma Fudd, how we doing? Rodney and his TA on Lil Nas. Crypto Puppy, how we doing? Welcome, welcome, Secret Keeper. Good morning, good morning. How long do you think before people rotate out of ETH into Sol? I think that a lot of people, and we're going to see a big example of people rotating out of Bitcoin into ETH, right? If you look at like ETH, you know, I know that Tom Lee guy talked about how Ethereum could be having its 2017 Bitcoin moment. So we'll see. But we had a big whale, a massive sell, rotate a lot of that into ETH. We'll get into some news here in a second, right? Well, I greet the chat. Let's go and pull up the crypto bubbles. And you can see how we're doing on the day of the overall market here. Obviously, mostly red, right? Mostly red. Over the last hour, we are moving, though. So the market is starting to recover. But this is the 24-hour time frame for market cap sizes plus, you know, crypto prices. What's up, Sacco Hunt? Good morning, Bud. Good morning. Good morning. PT003. How you doing? Fix Salem said, what are you thinking about Brett? I love Brett. Goated Brett. And Brandon White. All right, let's look at some. Okay, before we get into, you know, because, you know, this weekend, a lot of people looked at it as negative, even though Ethereum hit an all-time high, which is insane. I do want to start off with some positive Bitcoin news. So, throwback, Bitcoin was $17.51 when this article came out in 2011. So that's the end of Bitcoin, right? So people, you know, pretty much, you know, just saying that Bitcoin was done back in 2017, right? Or 2011, excuse me. And then check this out. So buying Bitcoin gets easier the longer you hold. And that's why I always preach long-term hold, right? So 1 month, if you hold it for 1 day, right, odds of being down is 47%. If you hold it for 1 month, 42%. If you hold it for 1 year, 23%. If you hold it for 3 years, 0.7%, 5 years, 0.2%, and 10 years, 0% chance you'll be down. Now, things can change, but it's important to, you know, recognize that, you know, the longer you hold your cryptos, the better off you're going to be. All right, so Bitcoin, right? Starting to trend down right now. And as you can see, we kind of broke out of our upwards trend because Bitcoin was trending up for a little bit. But starting Monday, August the 18th, Bitcoin is starting to break out of its trend, right? We had a nice little pump here on the 22nd, and then obviously a massive, massive dip. Now, this is something I always talk about. And yes, Glock J, we're going to be talking about the XRP credit card that Gemini is offering later on during this stream. We are going to be talking about that. Okay, Felix says, do you think I should short Bitcoin from here? It's on a downtrend. We'll see, right? So we'll see. Maybe if it breaks out of this, you know, if it, I mean, maybe, but I think it still has some room to pump if it's going to dump a little more, because I do think that if you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, this is one of the, not the lowest of the year, right? But 57.4% Bitcoin dominance is pretty low compared to where we've had it to at around 58%, right? The low was December 6, 2024 at 53%, but we're starting to see Ethereum dominance rise. So it's a sign of altcoin season, right? So we did see, let me go back to my Bitcoin chart here. Oh, did I click out of it? No, I didn't right here. Okay, so Bitcoin was trending up. We have some touch points right here, right? You know, so I'm learning technical analysis and whatnot. And we do have some touch points right here, but then obviously we broke out of that, right? Now, what we didn't get is an Ethereum dump. And it looks like Ethereum's still trending up, pumping, ripping like crazy, hitting an all-time high yesterday. We do have some resistance around the high for 4849, right? Now, remember, we did say that when it comes to Bitcoin, September is not a good month for Bitcoin, right? Just not a good month. Historically, it's like the worst month for Bitcoin. We're still in August. We have interest rates to look forward to, but our interest rates priced in right now. The interest rates, being lowered, maybe because we did get some CME group stuff, and the interest rate odds did go down a little bit. We'll get into that. It went down to 75%. And thank you so much, Kayla, for reposting the stream. How we doing? GS, good morning, good morning. Club Crow, good morning, good morning. Jason, good morning, good morning. How we doing? Welcome to the stream, guys. Ethereum still trending up and looking really good. So we got a bounce here at about $4,200, which is an interesting level, right? It took us forever to kind of break above $4,000. We were hitting around $4,000, 38, 39 for like the longest time. It broke above that. And then it's been kind of hard for us to get below $4,200. So I'd say that's a good kind of point of support-ish for the time frame that we have. So Ethereum trending up, looking really, really good. But here's the thing about the crypto space. And I always talk about this. And thank you so much, Secret Creeper, for reposting the stream. I always talk about this. The reason why I think technical analysis on meme coins is stupid is because one or two people could really affect how the chart goes depending on how their day feels, right? I see a lot of people do technical analysis on small cap meme coins, which is kind of crazy to me, right? It's kind of crazy to me. But crypto is not a huge market altogether. It's only $4 trillion, and half of that, more than half, 57%, as we saw with the Bitcoin dominance, is Bitcoin. So what was the big news that dumped the Bitcoin chart and broke our upwards trend, right? Now, it was starting to break. It was starting to break before that, I will admit, right? But massive break right here, right? We got this news that a Bitcoin whale dumped 24,000 Bitcoin worth $2.7 billion today. This is yesterday, triggering a $4,000 crash in minutes. Now, this dumped Bitcoin down to around $10,000, right? So interesting, right? So one guy was able to wreck the charts pretty much. Now, obviously that, triggers a bunch of other things going on, right? So this is from Jacob King. Shout out to him. Big FUD guy, but he has some good stuff out there. Bitcoin flash crash today, which wiped out $310 million in long positions, has been traced to a single Bitcoin whale dumping Bitcoin for ETH. So this guy is dumping Bitcoin for ETH. Interesting, right? So rotating from Bitcoin into ETH, which, maybe it's one guy, but maybe that's where the market sentiment is going. The whale sold 24,000 plus Bitcoin, including coins that hadn't moved in 5+ years, sending 12,000 Bitcoin today alone to the hyperunit trading platform. They sold 18,000 plus Bitcoin, $2.2 billion so far, and are in the process of dumping the remaining 6,000 plus Bitcoin, 670 million. Jeez, man, this person made out like a bandit. Jeez, that's a lot of money. Rick Rock, good morning. Good morning. HB, SPX 6900 in the Aeons in the house. Earn Crypto, good morning. Good morning. Most of the money is being moved to Ethereum, 2 billion bought and 1.3 billion staked. So bulls betting on ETH. Now, obviously, huge market move, right? Ethereum hitting an all-time high. Now, we thought that Ethereum may not rip until we start maybe getting closer. It's just hard to tell, right? We know that Pumptober is a thing for a reason, right? Historically, October, November, we go absolutely nutty. We have the interest rates cuts happening, hopefully, next in a few weeks here. We'll see what happens, right? But check this out. ETH is up massively during this quarter, right? 90%. And if you look at the other bull runs, nothing compares, right? 2021, 31%, right? 2017, 9%, and 2025, we're up 90%. That's absolutely insane. So, Ethereum doing some big things. Now, a lot of obviously the sentiment with Ethereum I think has changed a lot. Now, keep in mind, all the focus was on Bitcoin for the longest time with the ETFs, institutions, and those sorts of things. And I still think that most of the focus is still on Bitcoin. But as we move forward as a space, right, we get regulation, those sorts of things. I think that, people are going to start looking and get retail back in the market. People are going to start looking at other altcoins, right? So feels good to be in the crypto space. But I wonder why that CME group, right? There's only now a 75% chance of rate cuts in September. I wonder what happened. I don't know what's going on with that. So I don't know what's going on with that, but apparently there's still now only a 75% chance of some sort of rate cuts happening. So interesting news. So what's up, Kayla? How we doing? Brandon White said, this is the first week in a minute where I didn't trade. I just watched. Yeah, it's just kind of tricky. It's tricky, but, we're looking at Ethereum and, I looked at this RSI, right? I've been learning some things here, here and there. And apparently, if it's above 70, it's time to sell. If it's below 30, it's time to buy. It's called the relative strength index. And kind of it checks out sometimes, right? But right here, we can see that it was above 70, which is, right here the day before. Or no, maybe this is right here. There's a few instances where it's above 70 and it's time to sell. And it doesn't match up, but it looks like it matches up here. And sometimes just in the middle. But I did find one example here somewhere. Let me see. I think it might have been right here. I guess it is kind of matching up right here. Okay, maybe right here. This is the example that I found, that where it was above 70 and it said it was time to sell. And then the market ripped. I guess it stayed up above here a little bit. So that's like the rule. I've been learning a few things every single day. And it's just interesting to see how the chart trends, over time. And this obviously is a 4-hour chart. Over the last couple of months, nothing too big, but we can see a downtrend here, and I have started to trade a little bit. And then once I accumulate some wins, some losses, I'll show you guys how I'm doing. I guess that's how people like it. I'm just trying to do things on a bigger time frame just because I don't want to be on the charts all day, every day, like maybe daily and check it a few times a day and those sorts of things. But, if you're actually being like a day trader or a scalper, you got to be online all day, every day, which is kind of crazy, right? But Ethereum looking really promising. I mean, this thing is absolutely rippity dippy. Now we might get a pullback down here, but I'm not sure how much we break past $4,800 in the near future. I mean, we'll see. But, us hitting what, 49, almost $5,000 is absolutely insane. But again, a lot of this was triggered by one guy. And obviously, when that happens, liquidations happen and those sorts of things. And then, when the market, it's like, liquidations happen, and then when people see like big red candles, they freak out and they sell and those sorts of things. So it's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. September will be it to load up when it's the meme season. Yeah, so memes are in an interesting spot right now too. So obviously we looked at Bitcoin dominance a little bit. Bitcoin dominance falling 3%, which is kind of crazy, right? Ethereum ripping about 3%. Meme coin's not looking good right now from what I remember. Let's go to memes. Did they change these more? Let's see. And more tokens being... Oh, here we go, memes. They changed the coin market cap interface. So obviously memes down quite a bit over the last 24 hours. Last week, more or less the same. But like I said before, like there's going to be a time in the meme coin space where it's like shooting fish in a barrel. The meme coins are an interesting kind of type of crypto, right? Like, when they're ripping, they're super volatile. Like they're volatile. They're just insanely volatile. And that's a blessing because I think like loading up on your favorite meme coins right now is a good idea because when they pump to the upside, you're going to get some crazy double-digit pumps. Not 5%. You're going to be like 10%, 20%, things like that. And just stick with the top tried and true meme coins, even though they may seem boring. Or you can go out there and gamble and stuff like that on photons. Like doing technical analysis on like big, obviously the two largest cryptos in the space, whatever. But it just goes to show that one guy could probably still move the charts like crazy, right? But with meme coins, it's kind of even dumber because like you just don't know what's going to happen unless you have like an insider advantage. So when it comes to meme coins, like just stick with the top meme coins. If I'm looking to get into memes right now, I'm just sticking with the top 10. And I know I say that a lot, but that's what I'm doing. And maybe some strong communities. Like if you understand like Mog, like I think these are all going to pump Toshi Turbo, even Popcat. There's a lot of these that I think are going to do very, very well over time. And start looking for ERC20 ones that are like bangers, like Pepe, obviously, SPX. And we have one like down here called Trollcoin, which it was kind of popular for a little bit, but I like that it's an ERC20 token, Like I'd be looking for Ethereum meme coins to do some, insane things. I hope it stays away for a minute. Oh, you meme coin season? Yeah, I think that meme coin season is going to start running when everything else starts running, right? But after, like kind of delayed. Like Bitcoin, we'll have a few bangers here and there. And of course, Lofi. Yes, of course, Lofi. Lofi's just not a top meme coin, but Lofi's obviously bullish. One of the, in the small cap type. Obviously risky. Yeah, the manipulation yesterday was, yeah, you could say it's manipulation, but one guy's just caking, right? And obviously Binance is doing some shady stuff too. Let me go ahead and pull up some stuff here. Give me 1 second. But we did see that BlackRock, so obviously you can say this manipulation too. They dumped $190 million worth of Bitcoin. So BlackRock dumping. maybe to sidestep something. You know, when I say like institutions or, you know, it's just like regular people when they sell and, you know, they sell and cash out. I'm like, yeah, good for them, you know. But when you see institutions doing the same thing, it just feels like manipulation. But they're looking to make as much money as they can. Doesn't matter if their margin's small, the profit's small, right? They're looking to make money. And they're probably trying to sidestep something. I don't know when that kind of happened, but. And then obviously, you know, yesterday we got Bitcoin drop to the 110K level, which it survived. I think we're at what, $111,000 right now. We'll see. But remember, it is trending down. So it's going to be very interesting. So maybe we go back up to maybe, I don't know, 113, 114 level, and then maybe go down. We'll see. All right, we'll see. Like I said, this RSI, you know, maybe when it gets down to under 30, it'll start pumping again, you know? I don't know, but what I've learned from like just trying to learn technical analysis online is that like there's a lot of different things you got to add together for it to make sense, and even then it doesn't make sense, you know. Brandon White says it's been my best year. Nice. I thought that 2025 was going to be good year, but it hasn't. What are you talking about? It's been, Felix is tripping, right? 2025 has been a fantastic year for like Ethereum, you know. I mean, I guess if you look at the time frame, you know, if you look back to, I mean, this is Bitcoin over the last six months or so since February. I mean, it's still up significantly, you know. I mean, that's crazy. Ethereum too, and obviously Ethereum peaked at $4,000 back in December, right? We'll go to the last 6 months or 8 months of the year, or where were we at in February? I mean, look, we're down here, you know, 1,800, you know, ish, maybe 2,000 ish. So Ethereum's looking fantastic. BNB Frog, 1.5 mil market cap. Yeah, we love meme coins. Momo has a banging community. Shout out to the Momo team. Now let's see where the fear and greed index is at. So I think this is kind of good, right? So it dropped from 60 to 47. So maybe it's time to get greedy, right? When people or it's neutral, all right? Maybe it's time to get greedy. All right. Okay. So this is a good post from Lark Davis. So in 2021, in the 2021 bull run, ETH hovered around its previous all-time high for weeks before finally breaking through into price discovery. This cycle, ETH briefly hit a new all-time high and has pulled back since then. Will it repeat the same pattern and go into price discovery mode after a few weeks, or will it reject and break our hearts again? I think it's going to absolutely send and go into price discovery. What do you guys think? You guys think we dump or we pump? What do you guys think? Let's see. The Momo. I don't even know what the Momo challenge is. Like and share the stream, people. Yeah, I appreciate that. Alexander G, good morning, and I had a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend too. And there's not actually a ton of news. We got this piece of news that said Japan's finance minister says crypto assets could be a part of diversified investments, which is interesting. What else do we have? Oh yeah. So check this out. Interesting. So Gemini has an XRP credit card. So meet the Gemini credit card XRP edition. Designed for enthusiasts, this limited edition metal card gives you up to 4% back in XRP instantly. No waiting, just stacking. Huh? So 4% back in gas and EV. So gas, EV, and transit. 3% dining, 2% groceries, 1% everything else. Now that's nice if XRP is doing well, but it's bad if it's not. But if you're betting on the future of XRP, I mean, that's pretty cool. So I thought that was interesting. Johnny Gordy, good morning. How we doing, Johnny Gordy? And thank you so much for reposting the stream. I appreciate that. Yes, smash the like, subscribe if you are new, share the stream. I appreciate that. So very, very interesting, right? So we have and it looks pretty sweet, you know? How many of us are getting the XRP Gemini credit card? I would like a credit card back in Bitcoin, you know? And I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that, but I thought, you know, yeah. Let me see. I did the George strategy, lots of Bitcoin, some ETH, some alts. It's great for me. I took some yeah, I mean, that's the best strategy. The thing about that strategy, Armand, is that it's slow, you know, and people in the space, you don't like slow. They want everything right now. You know, that's the issue with that strategy, which I wouldn't say it's an issue. It's just, that's what people want. You know, they want everything right now today. You know, they want it next week. They don't want to wait an extended amount of time. Which I get, you know, I get that. Okay, I heard XRP credit back. Yes, XRP, you get it back. So check this out. Gives up to 4% back in XRP instantly. No waiting, just stacking. So it's the Gemini credit card XRP edition. So usually credit cards give you some sort of rewards, cash back, and most credit, not most, but a lot of credit cards will give you some sort of rewards, points, and those you get XRP back, which is pretty sweet. 4% is a lot if you're using it for a lot of things. I don't know. And if you think about it, like units of XRP, it could be a lot. Like if you're buying like $100 item, I mean, that's like, 1.3 XRPs, ish. Where's it taking XRP from? Maybe the exchange. I don't know. That's a great choice. That's a great question. Maybe the amount of, because like when exchanges buy, like they have their amount of supply in that crypto. Gemini holds how much? That's a great question. I don't know. Too many are impatient. Patience wins. It really does. That's why it's boring. It is boring, but that's how you win. I just think that a lot of people feel that they're late to the game. And, even though Bitcoin is 120K, not right now, but, all-time high of like 125-ish, you're not late. You're still early. We're still in the early days of crypto. I think still a lot of people are not really on board with crypto, even though that sentiment's starting to change. When people are winning and everyone's making money, everyone comes out and supports crypto. It's when people are losing and the catastrophes are happening and people are making videos on crypto and scams and those sorts of things because it's like kind of trendy to do so. That's when people start calling crypto a scam. But the sentiment will change over time. Felix says we also missed 2021. Like you missed it, or did you miss it? You missed it. I like this bull run too. It's just different. It did feel different in 2021 when it felt like, well, I don't know, because at that time too, it felt like everyone else was on NFTs and those sorts of things. NFTs were like huge. You get the Gary V and V Friends and all these people like, big on NFTs, which turned out to be, in hindsight, bad. And now you see the same thing with like meme coins this cycle. Like every celebrity had, an NFT last cycle. Now everyone has a meme coin, or at least it seems that way. Only people that can make real gains in Bitcoin and ETH are people who can afford to 10K normies can afford so we do means. Yeah. So what Jack's saying is that the only people that can make real gains in crypto, and it's true. It's like kind of true. It's like if you're looking at like XRP, and a lot of the XRP community like is trying to get rich in a short amount of time, and we're hearing like crazy price predictions for XRP. And I think it's just mostly for engagement. Like people will just say shit to get engagement. It's like they'll say anything, I literally watch people like make videos every single day, and they have lots of views on some videos about XRP, like hitting like $50,000 because of some random news article by some date. And they mock you for saying because of market cap size, which is important, right? It's like they'll say anything. They'll say anything, they really will. They don't really believe that shit. I don't think a lot of them do. But if you think about something like XRP, like if you like, I think it's going to hit like $9 this cycle, right? I mean, it's around $3 today. It's like, that's like a 3X, that's not a lot. So if you're looking to become a million for XRP, you better put 400K, into it, stuff like that. But Felix says, I want this cycle to play out like 2021 was great. Yeah, I think we're going to get that. I think Bitcoin obviously exceeding expectations. Ethereum finally hit an all-time high this cycle, but it's still, to me, like the ETH to Bitcoin ratio doesn't really work out. Obviously, Bitcoin hit an all-time high of 69K back in 2021. Ethereum hit its all-time high recently, but it was still around the same all-time high, 4,800, 4,900. Like, just doesn't make sense. Yep, get in, get out. Yeah, meme coins are tough, man. They're tough. But there's going to be a time where it'll be easy to buy meme coins. So you just got to have some patience. Like there'll be a time where, like I said, it's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. As for right now, you just have to, look, if you're going to be trading meme coins, do your thing, but you're just going to have to be extra careful, right? Do your thing. Just be extra careful, right? Do your thing. Just be extra careful. But Ethereum looking really good. Wait for Solana to rip to all-time highs. Now, yeah, Solana's going to do some good things. JX says, for example, I put $2,500 in Lofi and made 63K at all-time high. Trump token came out and fucked me up. Now it's back at a great buying price, and I'm looking for a repeat. Wow, nice, JX. That's good. That is crazy. So 2,500 to 63K. That's crazy, and that happens in meme coins. But you got to find that you have to be in the right community, right? And JX's in the right community. I talk about Lofi all the time. You know, you're in the right community. You have some sort of insider advantage. Like that's your insider advantage. You know, sometimes it can work out. But yeah, Trump token wrecked a lot of people. I think a lot of people thought it would just keep going up. And by the time it got around to everybody else, like all the insiders already got a bunch. They sniped a bunch. Like the same person who, you know, bought a bunch of that Yeezy token, which let's see how that's doing actually. I actually want to see how Yeezy's doing. Like got into, like those people have insider advantage. You know, they know somebody who told them about it, or they watch people, or they're online all day. Like that's all insider advantage. Like just being active, being in the trenches. That's why people say like, you know, that's why people always like brag about and talk about being in the trenches. Cause like, you know, yeah, it's fucking taking a Jesus Christ. Yeah. So like, yeah, obviously, you know, Yeezy cooked. This chart is, let's go to the day. Yeah, this thing's absolutely fucking cooked. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. Yeah, so it's dumping even more. Kayla says, don't put in money you can't afford to lose, period. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's always a rule, right? And it's a rule for a reason. It's more money you can afford to lose plus more money you can that you can't afford. I guess it's the same point, but it's money that you need. Because, I mean, I can't afford to lose any money, you know? But like some people will put money they need for things. And when you put in money you need for things like rent or other things, thinking you're going to get a quick flip, when the time comes to pay for those things, you have to sell at a loss to pay for those things. When you should, and like, I'm not talking about shit coins, but some meme coins, maybe some shit coins, you have to keep it in there for extended amount of time. Like you have to be able to hold through the BS. You know, like if you bought Bitcoin, right? Before that massive news we got about that whale, right? You bought Bitcoin 118K. Maybe you thought, or maybe you bought it around, you were looking at some trend lines and you bought it around, yeah, about $118,000, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. I wrote my trend lines. Market's moving up. It's trending up, you know, even though I guess there is a quote unquote double top here at $123,000. And the one whale sells it, and it dumps everything, right? If you needed that money, you probably have to sell at a loss. Or you could wait until we break this downward trend. You know, you could wait until we break this downward trend and then wait for Bitcoin to start ripping and hitting some, you know, and hitting some new highs. So that's like, you know, the risk sometimes. You just have to be able to hold for an extended amount of time. You know, if you bought Bitcoin back in the peak of 2021, I mean, it would took forever for you to, you know, break even and make some profits. Imagine if you bought Ethereum back in 2021 at the peak, like yesterday would have been the day that you finally got to break even, you know? So it takes some time and you got to thug it out sometime. Now, if you bought something like Yeezy, okay, if you buy a meme coin for like, you spend $1,000 and that shit dumps to like $50, might as well keep it in there. Might as well keep it in there because you never know. It's one of those things where you put it on your watch list, you check it every day, and maybe there will be some sort of narrative, it'll pump it again. You know? I found Lofi before all the big guys and it paid off, but I still ended up losing at least half, but bills were paid. Yeah, but you made some, right? None of brokies can afford to lose shit. I hate that saying. It's dumb. No one can afford to lose. I mean, there's people that can afford to lose. You know, there's people that can't, right? Will World Liberty Finance do the same as Yeezy? Here's the thing. Here's the thing I think about the Trumps. I don't think that they're dumb people. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're very successful, rich people, whatever. You know, and I like that Eric Trump is in it. He really cares about. He actually cares about the space. Like you can tell when he speaks about it, he's not just talking about. Like he's not just doing bullet points and those sorts of things, but they're smart. They're looking at this as a great opportunity to make an insane amount of wealth. I'm talking about like wealthier than they've ever been by, you know, having a pro crypto president and an environment where crypto can do these insane things, hit these numbers. People are launching meme coins left and right, and there's no repercussions and those sorts of things because they're they want to make money too. So when they leave when they leave, right, this administration, is our next president going to be able to, are they going to care about crypto like this administration does? Are we going to get a continuation of Trump's policies? Or are we going to get somebody else that's going to do the same changes, but in reverse, like we had in 2022, 2023, 2021 with Gary Gensler? So you never know. Like all the crazy thing that changed for crypto this way, we could just go back in time, depending on who the next president is. And I think the Trump family sees that and they're trying to get in while the getting's good. You know, they're not dumb. Well, I'm not saying it's bad, or I think it's great, you know, but we should do like them, get in while the getting's good, you know, because you have these guys launching these Yeezy token, and I'm not going to go into it in depth in the stream, but these guys are like bragging about it. You know, these guys are like bragging about it. And it's like, wow, these guys are just launching, and these guys, insiders made $23 million on Yeezy in like 2 days. Like that's crazy, bro. Like $23 million is life-changing money, obviously. And they're just a bunch of dudes launching coins and no one cares. Like Dave Portnoy launches, like everybody's just launching shitcoin and nobody cares, you know, which is like, hey, whatever. It's a Wild West, baby. But yeah, so just do what you got to do, you know. Get your bag, man, because you never know how long this is going to last. Maybe we get, JD Vance and the administration continues, or we get a Democratic president who doesn't like crypto, hates it, and starts putting all these stupid laws and stuff again, where, you know, maybe the SEC doesn't like it and those sorts of things, which who knows, maybe it can get to that point. It's just the like the 180 we've seen from last year to this year, it could go 180 again for a full 360 if that made sense. I don't know. Look at bundled wallets and spray and pray or use a sniper bot. Yeah, you got to be using like a sniper. Yeah, you got to be using like Photon or something. Like you got to be in, you know. And even then, like when Yeezy launched, there's going to be 15 other Yeezys, so you don't know what the real Yeezy is, right? Because keep in mind, before this had its mega pump, this was actually out on the 18th before it ripped on the 20th. So this is out 2 days before it ripped. Brandon says, it depends on what kind of game you want to play. I have a couple of high-risk plays, but I put my money into strong, sturdy projects for later on. That's the point. You know, if you want to gamble, don't do it with everything, you know. You could say that crypto as a whole is gambling if you believe that way. But like at least put most of it in things that are not going to dump and you're going to get wrecked forever. Put it in meme coins. Put 80% of it into large cap strong cryptos and put 20% in the meme coins, or gamble 20% of it. But I know people like to gamble. That's why casinos are so popular. That's why betting apps are so popular. People love to gamble, baby. You know, it's exciting. Yep, exactly. Before it's over, I just want to make enough to pay my house and truck off. I win because I make stupid bread at work. It's good. You know, you got a good job. Oh my goodness. We have people shilling meme coin called like butt plug. Like that's how crazy the meme coin space is. Look at this butt plug. You know. All right. Do we have any more news before we get into butt plug? Do we have any more news? Let's see. I think that's just about it, ladies and gentlemen, for the news at least. Just to recap, Bitcoin broken up trend. A Bitcoin whale sold a bunch of Bitcoin. It looks like they bought Ethereum with it, like $2 billion. Can you imagine $2 billion, dude? Made out like a bandit. Looks like altcoin season is kicking in. I mean, I think Ethereum was down Ethereum was up like 3% while Bitcoin was down like 3%. Like that's, man. And then XRP has a credit card coming out. Or Gemini has a credit card that gives you XRP rewards, which I think is insane. I live in the blockchain, so if it doesn't work, I got to paint my toes. Wait, what? I live in the blockchain, so if it doesn't work, I got to paint my toes. Yeah, me too. My job is crypto, so if it doesn't work out, hey, it don't work out. We'll figure it out. You know. It'll buff out. You know, it always works out. That's the way I look at it. It always works out. You know, if you want it, it always works out. And you're welcome, Chevy fan. Have you heard of Manifest is doing on Sui? Has a great chance to go toe-to-toe with Lofi. Does it really? Let's see. Manifest. I guess we can look at some meme coins. Give me 1 second here. I had hibachi. So I went to hibachi for the first time yesterday. That was extravagant. What'd you guys do this weekend? Give me 1 second. Manifest it, bro. Manifest on Sui. 2.9 mil has a chance. Why do you think it has a chance to go toe to toe with Lofi? Why do you think that? I mean, it's brand new, right? It's 2.4 mil. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I went to Hibachi for the first time yesterday. And you know what? Way too much food. Fun, though. First time going to Hibachi. You love Hibachi, Brandon? Nice. Jayhawk says, race car shit. I went hunting for Teslas, but I don't find one. I'm getting the Model S Plaid. Jayhawk, can you beat a Model S Plaid? In a 0 to 60, Jayhawk? Quarter mile. You think you can beat a Model S Plaid? Those things are so fast, bro. It's like, what's the 0 to 60 on the Model S Plaid? No way. It's under 2 seconds. All donkey gap one? You think so? It says 1.99. Oh, 0 to 100. I got you. 160, yeah. I want to watch this race. I don't race. I'm not gonna do that. I'll die if I do some sort of race. You know. Manifest on Sweet, it's only at 2.4. We gotta pump the brakes a little bit. But if it starts ripping through like 10 mil, 20 mil, Sweet meme coins, if they start doing like big things like that, then I'll be looking forward to that. But let's see actually how Sweet meme coins are doing. I haven't actually even looked at it. Top Sweet meme coins. We'll go to top Sweet tokens. So we have Walrus Protocol, Deepbook Protocol, IKA, Cetus Protocol. I don't think any of these are meme coins except for we have Lofi right here and then MemeFi. And that's it, right? So yeah, Lofi at 18 mil and MemeFi right behind it. So the meme coin market's still, it's still growing for Lofi. Thank you so much, Crypto Flare. I appreciate you. Plaids tops out, don't they? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Claims Model S Plaid will do the quarter in low to mid 9s. Interesting. I promise you, I'll slide it. I'll slide it. That car won't see the front of my TA Trans Am. Not even the hit. I can go as high as 2100 horsepower to the wheel. Okay. Jesus. I'll easily do low 8s. Jesus Christ. No shade to Sui, but there's the slush wallet needs a bit. Yeah, I think the slush wallet, the UI is bad. Yeah, I don't think it's good. I honestly think Phantom is like the friendliest. Yeah, but the Sui ecosystem's still growing. Right? It had a massive run not long ago, but it's obviously lagging behind. But that was when Sui was pumping to like $5, like close to like $5 and those sorts of things. So. Who else do we have? What else do we got? And I think that's pretty much it for the news, guys. Let me look for some more news, see if anything happened. Oh, apparently, let me see. Hold on. Promotes fake Cristiano Ronaldo token, deletes tweet, tries again. There's no. Okay, so I get somebody's promoting a fake Cristiano Ronaldo token. This guy named EV. CR7 is launching on. Okay, because Cristiano Ronaldo was sponsored by BNB. So if he was launching a BNB token, he'd be crazy. So this guy EV Hard Snipe says CR7. See, people just say anything on X. I swear to God, people just say anything. CR7 is launching on BNB, and it's going to be on Wednesday nighttime. It will be a Binance Cabal coin. He has canceled with the Slogan team that he has canceled with the Solana team Well, he would never do this, Lana. And we're doing it with him, and we're doing it with him yesterday after being messaged by lots of people. Yeah, this sounds fake anyways. Doesn't even make sense. So let's be careful. Fake stuff. Let's see what Bubble Maps has been cooking up. Also, an update to the Yeezy token. So this is worse than we thought. We received DMs pointing to another sniper, one who shared funds and snipe tokens alongside Nassim in the past. There's an elite group of snipers who don't compete but coordinate, making millions, destroying charts. The story is not over. I guess we knew that, right? So obviously they were talking about how, Yeezy token and Trump token, right? So we have found the identity of the first buyer of Yeezy is the same trader who made 100 million on Trump. And a lot of people are saying this guy's getting lucky, but this guy's aping like 250K bags, $1 million bags. Like that's not a person randomly shooting off, aping randomly. Like this person knows. I wonder who it is. I bet you Zach XBT is working on some crazy shit right now. I bet you Zach XBT is working on some crazy stuff that's going to blow our minds. Like some crazy motherfuckers. Oh, wow. We have an executive order instructing the Department of Justice to prosecute people who burn the American flag. I actually like that. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab my coffee. All right, so you can't burn the American flag anymore, which you should be anyways, but that's interesting. Non-crypto news. What else do we have here on my timeline? 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. And it goes on your record. Yeah, business and body on that one. It would be Ronaldo's wife that figures out how to launch a token. I actually don't. Oh, business and body on that one. Oh, Ronaldo's wife. What's the deal with the whole wrestling thing? That's nothing new. So what the fuck? Oh, the wrestling thing. The guy who got beat up? You mean this right here? You guys see that? I know exactly what happened with that. I actually know in detail what happened. Is that what you're talking about, Brandon White? Because if you want to know the backstory, the guy who beat the other guy unconscious, is Rampage Jackson's son. And what happened was, they're doing kick streaming, which is like a cesspool of fucking retards, I think, just doing some crazy IRL stuff. I mean, not everybody, but there's some people that do some crazy things. There's that guy that was going, I think it's Johnny Somali, that was going to like Korea and stuff like that. Like, just causing a bunch of mayhem over there, And anyway, so Rampage Jackson's son's streaming at some like little small kind of like, not a big wrestling event, but like a small one, right? Like a amateur kind of deal. And he meets up with some pro wrestlers in the back. And one of the guys there thinks that he's part of the bit. He doesn't know who he is, but he thinks he's part of like the wrestling thing. He thinks he's like an actor. He's part of the bit. And so he smashes a fake prop can on his head, right? Rampage Jackson's son's head. And then Rampage Jackson's son gets like mad, like fucking fired up, fuming, because he's an MMA fighter, right? And the guy like apologizes. Everybody else apologized. Hey, I thought you were part of it. Because when he hit him, he's like, are you going to sell it? Are you going to sell it? It wasn't like a full can of beer. It was like crushed a can on his head. Put his like hand in front of it too. And it looked like they squashed it. But like a couple hours later, he was reading his chat. And I think the chat was kind of like encouraging him and saying you're a bitch and pissing him off. So he goes in the ring. He body slams him. Knocks him out. He was, he's supposed to go in the ring anyways, but he wasn't supposed to do all that. It hits him 23 times as he's unconscious in the face. Just 23 unanswered points. And it's crazy. It's like the show's still going on right here, which is crazy. I don't know what's going on. It's insane. I don't know. It's fucked up. Yeah. Yeah. The chat. Yeah. Yes. Chat was the key. Yeah. Losers. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's sad. It's sad. That guy is like a veteran and stuff like that, but he got his ass beat. Okay, so I guess that the UAE's Bitcoin holding is live. So on Arkham. So the UAE's 700 million Bitcoin holdings are now labeled on Arkham. These holdings come from Bitcoin mining operations carried out by Citadel, a public mining company, majority owned by UAE, Royal Group, though. Royal Group, their IHC. Arkham is the first to publicly identify these addresses. So pretty sweet. Everything's on chain now. So ETH rally sets up September decline pattern. Yeah, we could dump a little bit for. I mean, it's still trending up, but ETH could pull back. So we are due for like a little bit of a dip. Make a meme out of that. A meme out of what? So I think we are going to get a pullback on ETH, but we're still trending up. Yeah, but it's kind of sad. The guy got punched like I think it was like 23 times unanswered, like as he's unconscious. Like he got knocked out from the slam. It's kind of just sad. Hopefully get some kind of jail time like that, because people that can't control their emotions like that don't belong to be in society with the rest of us. Like people that can't control their emotions like that, like he's a ticking time bomb. He's gonna do it. He's 25. Like 25, you're not a fucking kid. Like people that can't control their emotions like that need to be locked up. Like they just got to. He would, if no one stopped him, he would have beat that guy to death, you know? Like he would have beat that guy to death. So all right, well, looks like the chat is kind of quiet, guys. So I'm going to dip out of here a little early. Not a lot of news to talk about today. But do me a favor, and we might have a meme coin stream later. I might just add some meme coin streams in the evening. But that's pretty much all the news. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching over on X, give your boy a like and a follow. And most importantly, repost. All right, little weirdos. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye now.